Back to part 3 of the instructional TDA. When I was with you last time, we read through the story Justice for All, and we used our transparent yellow boxes to highlight 3 pieces of evidence. And what we were looking for was evidence that proved that Ida B would stand up or do anything to stand up for what she believed in. So we're going to take these 3 pieces of evidence now and put them into an evidence chart. And in that chart, we will be identifying our 3 pieces of evidence. I will show you how to do an inference and analysis. And after that, we will begin writing our TDA. So if you go down to slide number 6, you'll see I have this evidence chart. And I wrote the 2 elements up at the top because that helps me remember to continue making those connections. So the whole purpose of my TDA is to show how central idea and character is linked together. So I need to mention both of those every time I talk about my evidence. So I'm going to take my first evidence, which is on slide number 3. And I'm going to quote this evidence by using quotation marks because it's not my writing, it came from the text. But before I do that, I want to start with some sort of sentence starter. Since I know there's 3 examples, maybe I'll start with the sentence starter, 1 example. Sorry about that, I couldn't get in the table. So I'm going to say 1 example of Ida showing she will make a stand is when she says, "The other car is a smoker. I propose to stay." You'll notice that I have a sentence starter, and then when I am writing the evidence right from the text, I use quotation marks to hug that statement. Now I'm going to move over to our inference. We often use the sentence starter "this means" for inferences, and "this shows" for analysis. You'll notice that I gave you some sentence starters. I like to change them just a little bit so I'm not saying "this means" and "this shows" every time. You can if you want. However, word choice is something that we want you to develop as 5th graders so that your writing sounds different instead of things being repeated all the time. So hopefully this is some good sentence starters to help you out. So when I do the "this means," I want to focus on why this proves that you never give up on something you believe in. And of course, we are connecting that to Ida B. This means Ida, I'm going to mention the character, chooses to stand her ground and not leave her seat. Okay, so I'm talking about her not giving up, and I mentioned the character. Now I'm going to move to the analysis. You want to make sure that you're linking those 2. This shows the character is going to make the tough choice of not listening to the conductor and instead staying in the white train car. Okay, so a little bit more knowledge, and I am a little bit more direct on her actions of what she's not giving up on. Then I'm going to move to evidence 2. So again, we go up and we found some evidence of her actions. It said she was fuming mad. She sued the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad. So for my evidence, I'll have a sentence starter. Maybe this time I say, another example is when Ida was, and then I'm going to quote from the text, fuming mad. She sued the railroad stations. I'm going to go back and read this just to make sure I'm close to the actual quote. It's hard to hold that all up in my head. Sued the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad. Okay, so now I would like you to take the lead on this. You're going to do an inference and analysis. You'll copy your third piece of evidence and do an inference and analysis. I'm going to make this text a little bit smaller so that we can stay within our chart. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, when you are done with your evidence chart, go ahead and listen to the TDA video part 4.